Hey everybody, I'm Vera Stewart and welcome to the VeryVera show. I'm so glad you decided to join me today. And I am joined by two of my all-time favorites, Matt and Ted Lee. Guys, I'm so glad you're back.
It's great to be here.
You know, it was a couple of years ago that we got together.
I know.
And, you know, I actually went to their cookbook boot camp. And let me tell you, if you think boot camp is hard, you ought to go to cookbook boot camp, because it was really something. But they have been so instrumental in helping me in so many ways. And you guys have just been really busy yourselves.
We have.
Lots of projects.
We have a new TV show since we saw you here last, which is really fun. It's called Southern Uncovered.
Okay.
And it's a Southern food travel show. So every episode is a different Southern city. It's so fun.
Oh, I know it is. Well, we are just really thrilled that you could get your schedule to be with us on the VeryVera show today. But you know, we talked about what some of our favorites are from the Charleston Kitchen cookbook. And this recipe for Henry's cheese spread is classic.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, the Henry's restaurant on Market Street in Charleston pretty much dominated the 20th century until you get toward the end. I think it ended in about 1982, but for those who remember, this cheese spread was your first impression of the restaurant. They put it out with some crudité, you dipped your radish or your celery stick or your carrot stick in it, and it is unusual. I mean, it's so unique.
It's like pimento cheese plus.
Oh,
it's
wow.
Kind of crazy.
You know, we love that around here.
Yeah.
So look at all this, looks like some great ingredients.
So it comes together pretty easily, but it's a diversity of ingredients. I mean, it's insane how many ingredients go in here. We've got the Fresh Market, just shredded standard cheddar, you know, not
and we love to shred that
fancy.
ourselves, right?
Yes. And then it's got a horseradishy flavor, and so some prepared horseradish is key ingredient, dried mustard. I mean, your head's gonna spin. Ketchup.
I love the.
Here, you've got a nice spatula here.
The horseradish feature in that.
Yeah, it's a really, you know, it's a spicy, very piquant.
Worcestershire.
Okay.
So a little of that sort of darker spice. Fresh garlic.
Fresh garlic.
They did use one fresh ingredient. That's amazing. Some Tabasco hot sauce.
Oh, wow.
A little bit of beer, believe it or not.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's sort of, and a little bit
Now,
of red
y'all
wine.
weren't drinking any of that beer ahead of time, were you?
Oh,
I
no,
promise
ma'am.
not.
No,
No.
ma'am.
Absolutely not.
Too early for that. We just whip it up till it's smooth.
Oh, gosh. This is when that food processor really comes in handy.
Yeah.
Right.
What's so funny is the original recipe. The original recipe we got from the restaurant, typewritten, called for 40 gallons.
Oh
and
my
so
God!
It was
because
one
they
bottle.
made so much.
It was a bottle of beer, a bottle of Worcestershire,
Well,
a
you know,
goblet
you
of
talk
red
about
wine.
recipes with a twist,
I'm
and
gonna
on the
pure it.
VeryVera show, you know, we take the classic recipes with a twist. So I thought, you know, you mentioned how they did it in the restaurant, but I thought, wouldn't it be great as a cocktail sandwich?
Absolutely.
It's a great idea. It's a very versatile cheese spread, and you can use it sort of in the same way you would use pimento cheese.
Okay, so I've got the white bread and the wheat bread, and this is so old-fashioned, but you know, still, honestly, guys, at cocktail parties, people love,
A tea sandwich.
a tea sandwich.
I can eat too many of them is my
So
problem.
I had it kind of covered up with my little moist towel, and
Right,
I'm
to
so
keep your-
particular about that when
Keep
I'm
your
making
bread fresh,
All
right?
the details.
all the details.
We know
of
you're a stickler for details,
doing
Vera.
that. So I'm going to alternate the white and the wheat. on here.
Beautiful.
Oh, this just smells so good, and it spreads so well too.
Well, it's I mean, it's the cheese and then all those liquid ingredients.
Just really makes it so, you know, just get it spread together, and this is when the young person can get involved. And then I'm just going to cut little strips.
Oh,
And,
that's
you know,
cool.
2 bites is all you need.
Right.
So we're going to keep going with these
Here,
little sandwiches. And when we come back from the break, we're going to get started on pickled shrimp and fennel. You don't want to miss it. So come back with us in just a few minutes. Welcome back, everybody, and if you're just joining me, I'm here with Ted Lee. His brother Matt has gone to maybe try one of the cocktails that we're doing for the show today. We don't know what happened to Matt, but I'm going to get kind of in my Ted zone right now.
Vera.
I know it.
You're really working those. I love it.
I know. I just couldn't wait to wear these today. But you are going to make one of my favorites out of the Charleston Kitchen cookbook.
Mine too. I just love pickled shrimp.
Pickled shrimp, and this time of year is just perfect. So we've got some boiling salted water going, and I'm just going to drop these shrimp right down it. And you know what? It doesn't take but a second. There's nothing worse than overcooked shrimp.
That's right. Nothing worse than overcooked shrimp. They just need like a minute or two. You just want to get them all a little bit opaque.
Pearly on the edge and pink.
Pearly pink. I
Pearly
like that.
pink.
In Charleston growing up, we just ate a ton of pickled shrimp, and this is one that has just a little bit of a twist from the ones I grew up with. They're mostly vinegar and dried spices, and we brought a little bit of freshness into it.
Oh gosh, and speaking of freshness, I can smell the fennel and all the different things.
Yeah.
Now how do those look?
Those look perfect.
Okay, so now I'm going to transfer these to an ice bath.
To the ice bath. And I'm going to start, the other part of pickled shrimp is the brine. And, our brine is mostly citrus. It's got a really nice lemony flavor. It's citrus and white wine vinegar. And so I'm going to start making the brine over here.
Okay.
This is a cup of white wine vinegar. I'm going to add a cup of fresh squeezed lemon juice to that. I'm going to add a teaspoon of sugar.
Oh, yum.
Half teaspoon of kosher salt, because you want to get it nice and salty. I'm going to stir that together.
And you're going to have some good shrimp water here.
I know, and I hear it's Shrimp Fest coming up.
Oh, I know it. It is through May 4th at the Fresh Market. And these are Fresh Market shrimp, and they're just fabulous.
Beautiful Fresh Market shrimp. Now, the other thing about this brine is that we're going to use the shrimp cooking liquid, because this has a ton of flavor in it.
It does.
All that shrimpy goodness on the outside of the shrimp is going to get in it. So what I'm going to do is add...
Careful, Ted. Careful now.
About 2 cups to my brine, right? And so we're adding flavor to flavor. You've got all that lemony goodness, you've got all that shrimpy goodness going on in there, but we also need to cool that down.
Okay.
So what I'm gonna ask you to do is take those, and we're gonna put them out on a paper towel. Doesn't matter if there's some ice cubes still in it, that's fine.
So get rid of these so you can use the ice.
Right.
Gosh, these are beautiful.
Aren't those great looking shrimp?
And you love to leave the tail on, correct?
Yeah, we like to leave the tail on because you can pick it up. You can also put it on a toothpick. That's fine, and then you wouldn't need to leave the tail on.
Okay.
But if you're at a cocktail party, you want to have the tail on so you can pick it up from a bowl.
All right, it's all yours.
I'm just going to sit that in there, whisk it around until it comes back to room temperature. And it's still a little bit cool because our vinegar and our lemon juice was cool, and we just added that warm shrimp brine. So I'm just gonna, pardon my fingers, I'm gonna see if that's cooling down. Yeah, that's cooling down.
You did wash your hands, right?
Yeah, I did wash my
hands. I'm really
hands.
liking these glasses, Ted. I don't know about you.
Aren't they great? I've always liked them. I've had these for like 12 years. All right, so now we're gonna take our brine, and we've got the rest of our ingredients. I'm going to ask you to put the shrimp in this bowl. This is our clean bowl. Put all the shrimp in there, and we're going to add chopped or thinly sliced fennel. Wild fennel grows pretty well in Charleston.
I love the way that smells.
And it has that kind of licorice flavor. We're going to add that. We're going to add some thinly sliced onion. Get some going in there. We're going to add some sliced jalapeno. You can add as much or as little as you like. We like it nice and spicy. And then some fennel fronds. Oh. The fronds of the fennel are really flavorful, sort of like dill. And then I'm going to pour that brine, that delicious lemony, shrimpy brine, all over that.
Can I stir it around a bit?
Yes, please. Stir it up. You want to mix it all up.
Oh, wow. I'm loving it.
And then you're going to cover that with plastic wrap and put it in the fridge for a while, let it sit. And that can sit about 3 or 4 hours. If you let it sit overnight, it might eat too much into that shrimp.
Okay, so when we come back after the break, we're going to get started. We've had shrimp, now we're going to go to crab, so you don't want to miss us. Come back in just a few minutes.
Ask Vera is brought to you by Georgia Bank and Trust and Southern Bank and Trust.
Lisa Johnson in Augusta writes, how many different hors d'oeuvres should I serve at a cocktail party? Well, I've got some great tips for you. Outside of normal mealtime, you want to do 5 or 6 different types of food at a cocktail party. Keep in mind when you're making your menu what the different colors are that you're using in your food, whether some are hot, some are cold. You also want to think about your containers so you've got a good variety of height, whether it's in a basket or a chafing dish or on a platter, so that you've got a really good look to the table with everything displayed. During meal hours, when people are typically not going to go out to dinner afterwards, then think in terms of 8 to 10 different items. And if the guest list is mostly men, you want to add 1 or 2 more options. Keep in mind a 2-bite size if it's finger food. And then in terms of how much to make, you want to do 2.5 times of each item per guest. Lisa, I hope that answered your question, and if you have a question for me, send it to askvera@wjbf.com. I want to remind you that the Augusta Craft Beer Festival is coming up on April 23rd. It's from 12 to 5. It's at Lake Olmsted Stadium, and if you need more information, go to augustacraftbeerfest.com. Welcome back, everybody, and if you're just joining us, I'm with Matt Lee now. Ted's taking a little break, and you know, I love when you guys come this way. I mean, honestly, it just worked out. You've been in Atlanta doing an event over there, and Augusta was on the way back.
It's on the way.
I know. I'm just so happy.
Wonderful drop-off.
And the Charleston Kitchen cookbook, this time of year, especially when we think about, you know, fresh seafood, crab meat. I mean,
it's crab season.
It's crab season. So we are going to do your crab salad out of the cookbook.
Yeah, I mean, the idea of crab salad is pretty classic, but our twist on it is, again, a fresh twist and a little bit of texture, which we get from pickled celery, and quick pickled. I mean, this is not canning.
Right.
What I did was I created a brine out of lemon juice and vinegar, a little bit of water, and celery seed ground up to really boost the celery flavor.
Oh, wow.
And some sliced celery, I just marinated. It's a marination technique, really. And super easy to do, just a couple hours in the fridge. Then I've drained it because this crab salad comes together just as easy as any other. The binder is mayonnaise and sour cream. In fact, more sour cream than mayonnaise because we like the little punch, and you know, too much mayonnaise sort of makes it gluey.
Right.
So let's get in some sour cream and
now on the crab meat, what are your recommendations there other than go out and catch them yourself?
Good question. We are fortunate to know a crabber, Fred Dockery in Charleston, who let us come on his boat, and he taught us just about everything there is to know about
I love that part of the cookbook. I mean, y'all
crabs.
gave him so
I see a little bit of roe in here. I can't quite tell whether these were male or female, but there is a level of intelligence in Charleston about crab and buying crab. The male and the female, certain people prefer one or the other, and rusties, and then of course there's soft-shell crabs.
Right.
Rusties are sort of the opposite of soft-shell crab, and they're known to have more meat in them. But just good quality picked crab meat, that's what we look for. I've already gone through and picked out the stray bits of shell. And the other thing that we moisten this with is that brine. I saved it. I didn't pour it down the drain, and it's got some really good celery flavor. Just a tablespoon or so of that just helps boost it. And I might as well at this point go ahead and toss in my celery bits, my little pickled celery.
I love the way you slice those too.
Yeah, well, just
a little different.
Little differences like that in the way that you cut something can make all the difference in how it performs on your lettuce rib or your cracker.
Right.
And
well, and it also gives that handmade touch to it.
Yeah.
That is, you know, you can't pick up celery that's cut like that, already done.
We all want novelty. I mean, we don't want to see the same crab salad day after day. So, and this is it. It looks good. We could make it a little stickier if we wanted with a smidge more mayonnaise or something. But and then
okay, then you've got some chives.
A little bit of nicely cross-cut chives. And you're really done. You could make a sandwich out of this if you really wanted to be decadent. You could make a little lump and do a sort of Benedict thing with it.
Well, you know, in terms of picking through, I know I had our friend Susan Mason on the show, and she did her famous crab cakes, and you know, she said, don't touch the crab meat, don't touch the crab meat. So in something like this, I think, you know, like you said, you picked through it, got the shells out,
Yes.
And you want it to have a little bit of leniency to it.
Another trick that we love is to put some claw meat in there. If you have a choice, the claw is actually less expensive and it's got a ton of flavor. It's sort of like dark meat on a chicken.
You took the words right out of my mouth. That's awesome. Well, we're going to put a different spin on this when we present it in just a few minutes. But in our next segment on the show, we're going to do a kumquat sparkler. So if you don't know what kumquat is, on the break, I want you to Google it and learn a little bit more about it. But come back with us in just a few minutes, and we're going to get to the cocktail
right on,
part
happy
of this
hour.
wonderful cocktail party. Thank you. Well, you know, our mission was to do cocktails with a twist.
Right.
And honestly, I believe we pulled it off.
I think we did it.
Oh, this turned out so pretty. I love it.
Doesn't
And
it look great?
you know, the cocktail part has been like the, you know, the crowning thing here at the
That's
end.
right.
So tell me a little bit about this kumquat sparkler.
So it begins with the citrus that a lot of people haven't heard of. It's a tiny little mandarin orange, essentially, but the rind is edible and sweet. And so what we do is we just slice them up and put them in a mason jar and top them up. It's an infusion.
But now we have a pretty picture.
Yes, with
of course we
gin.
do.
Oh man, okay.
And you let them steep overnight. They'll acquire that orange, you know, deep flavor. Or you can leave them just, you know, for months and months on end, and they'll eventually bleach the citrus. But either way, you get this really nice orange-infused, slightly bitter orange flavor that's fun to mix with all sorts of cocktails.
Okay.
The one that we're going to do, we're going to top up with just light sparkling wine.
Any sparkling wine, you know, you can use any sort of Prosecco, Italian Prosecco, or champagne. We're using an American champagne.
Pinch of salt.
Pinch of
Brings
salt,
out the
okay.
flavor in
Pinch of salt
cocktails.
brings out the flavor,
Yeah.
and this is the pitcher. This beautiful pitcher is the one that's already been. This has been going for about 2 weeks now. So
Yum.
Matt, do you want to do
Yeah,
that? And
I'll
do the
okay.
champagne.
Dose these beautiful
Well,
flutes.
while y'all are pouring that in there, and all the glassware and some of the other features today are from the Cottage Shop in Savannah that is partners with us and helps us create some of these beautiful scapes for the ending of our show each week. And they're available on cottageshopgifts.com. But you know, when I think back to cocktail parties growing up, you know, I can see my parents right now with either a julep cup,
yeah.
or one of these
Right.
old school. So, you know, when we talk about cocktails with a twist, I think it's always nice to bring out things that are part of your family.
Sure,
You know,
the
part of
heirlooms,
entertainment,
the tradition.
heirlooms, but then stay current
Yeah.
with things like this that, oh, I mean, these are just fantastic. I love them. So let's talk a little bit about the way we displayed everything. So we've got the Henry's cheese spread that we did in the tea sandwiches.
Right.
And this is just a really nice, very versatile platter that you can lift out for other purposes. It comes with a nice basket. I love that to display the sandwiches.
They look beautiful.
Then the crab salad on the lettuce leaf just turned out great. And another one of our partners, guys, is the Salt Table in Savannah. And this is their Cypress Black Lava Flake Sauce. And we just put a little bit of that on the top. It just gives it a really interesting
Yeah,
look.
it's a nice contrast.
And then, you know, you thought cake plates were for cake. Well, not on the VeryVera
They're
show.
for
They're
shrimp.
for shrimp. And we've just got seashells and, you know, go to the aquarium store and buy some colored rocks And you know, I could have spilled those all over the table, but that
That's
just
cute.
looks fantastic as well. And then, you know, cocktail napkins are always important when you're serving cocktails.
That's right.
And here again, I love to pull out, you know, some old school linen
I love the variety
napkins
you have.
and just a lot of different ones. But then the cottage shop had these great maps.
The
you
nautical
know,
map.
Nautical map that I
Those
just
are
thought
beautiful.
would be
Tybee.
fantastic with those.
Very much in keeping with our theme.
So, you know, as I said, all of the recipes are out of your Charleston Kitchen cookbook. If you're looking for some great spring ideas for entertaining, this book is sold wherever cookbooks are sold.
That's right.
And, you know, I just am so excited that you guys came back. And, you know, what we always say on the VeryVera show is no matter what you do it in good taste, which speaks to taste and also etiquette, and
Sure, of
part of
course.
what I love to incorporate into our show. So let me toast you guys. I wish both of you continued success in your own show and the different things that you've going on in culinary world. I want to invite all of you to take a look at this book, try some of these great recipes, and more than that, come back and join us again next week for another episode of the VeryVera Show. Cheers!
Thanks,
Cheers.
Vera.
Thanks for
Cheers.
having us.
Let's have a sandwich.
All right.
Yes.